Alright, so this is pretty impromptu, but I want to take a second and talk about Spotify Wrapped. Now, amongst all of the annoying changes Spotify continuously does throughout the years, Spotify Wrapped is definitely a favorite of mine. I'm not gonna lie, I look forward to it every year. Not only is it a good conversational piece, but as someone who listens to a ton of music, it's just a nice little trip down memory lane, going back on the things that I am still listening to and some things I may have dropped early in the year. But now that all that's out the way, I just want to preface this. This is not a video about Spotify Wrapped. In general, this is about my Spotify Wrapped 2023. I mainly want to talk about the stats in particular. I've noticed that for the past few years, the time spent that I have listening to music has gone up exponentially. And due to many conversations, I've kind of got intrigued to make this video just to see what is the general consensus out there. So I have the receipts of my previous years, and then I'll show them all on the screen as I'm speaking, and then I'll end it on 2023, obviously. But I'm mainly making this video just to see if there's anyone out there who has some similar stats as myself. I knew I listened to a lot of music, but it really puts things into a new point of view when the end of the year comes and I start to compare it to other people's Wrapped as well. So with that being said, I really want to compare last year's stats and this year's stats. It seems like every year for the past few years, my time spent listening to music has gone up about 10,000 minutes per year. Last year I clocked in around 66,204 minutes to be exact, and I explored around 79 different genres. My top artist was Block Party with 3,500 minutes, roughly. And my top artists overall were Block Party, Corbin, Brockhampton, Kendrick Lamar, and Kid Cudi. Now, overall, I'm always pleased with my stats. I never really go into these things trying to get the most, but it's always interesting to see what you get. Now let's compare it to this year. Last year I had 66,000. This year I had up to 73,000 minutes. 73,177 to be exact. That's 50 days. Which always ends up seeing like a smaller amount than I think it should be, but whatever. I've listened to 116 genres versus last year's, I think it was like 90 something. And I played over 5,867 songs. And on March 17th, I peaked at 677 minutes, which is almost half the day listening to music. Not really sure what I was doing that day, but I was clearly in a vibe. But overall, I listened to 1,964 artists, but only one of them came out on top, which is kind of transitioning me to my next video. And that artist is Lil Yachty. Clocked in at 5,195 minutes with Yachty this year, which is surprising to me because I don't think I've ever had him on my Spotify Wrapped previously, and if I did, it may have been like a one-off song here or there, but overall, I was never really the biggest Yachty fan. And I have to say, within the past year and a half or so, he's definitely made a fan out of me. A lot of that has changed from his features, but more than anything from his project Let's Start Here that dropped earlier in 2023. But with that being said, I'm actually curious to hear about other people's Spotify Wrapped. I mainly want to hear about, how much time you accumulated listening to music, and really, what are your top 5 songs, who is your most played artist, and why? Because in my case, my top 5 songs were all off of that one Yachty project. And obviously my top artist was Yachty himself, which is, like I said before, transitioning me to my next video. That album in and of itself is pretty amazing and overall deserves its own video. Now, I've been speaking highly about this album throughout the year, and that's for good reason, because now that the year has ended, I can confirm and say that this is in fact my album of the year. And with that being said, click the link below or click the link on the screen and be brought straight to the next video, which is a conversational piece about Yachty's Let's Start Here.